Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. Steve Fezzik with Bryan Leonard. We are going to be talking Spurs, Clippers in just a minute. A couple of housekeeping items since this is our last NBA video here. I do want to mention shout out to Marco D'Angelo, who's been red hot and numerous times in his career. I know he was on the Indiana Hoosiers. They got it done today. And Marco actually had a run where he went 25-0 during the baseball season. Tremendously impressive, as has been Steven Nover, who's won like 2/3 of his plays, something ridiculous like 111 and 60 in his last 170 plays. Don't quote me on it. It's something very close to that. Brian, some impressive runs.
Yeah, Nover's doing really well, and he's not the only Steve that's doing well. I know you're not up to the 25-0 streak yet, but 8-0, is that correct?
17 more, Marco.
You're coming after him.
I'm happy that you brought that up. Thank you.
No problem at all. I'll mention it in the next video too.
Very good. But let's go ahead and talk about it. And I've had 1 and 9 runs before, so it's nice. It's nice that the ball's bouncing well for me. I've won a lot of close games, and that's what you really have to do when things are going well. Let's shift back over. We're supposed to talk about Spurs. We're supposed to talk about Clippers. Is this game going to be a close game?
It's projected to be a close game, and I don't know what side you're going to be on here, but I got some interesting stats here I'd like to run
I know you've been researching this game like crazy. You got your booklet full. Talk to me.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the San Antonio Spurs. A lot of talk. They're on the road trip here, the rodeo road trip. They've won 14 in their last 15 games. Pretty impressive. But take a look at the teams they've been playing. Cleveland, Chicago, banged up Chicago, Brooklyn, injury problems with Brooklyn, Detroit, Minnesota, Washington, Charlotte, Phoenix, Dallas, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Atlanta. I went all the way back. The last time they played an elite team, December 17th at Oklahoma City, they lose that game by 14 points. But here's something you want to take a look at. I also went back, okay, they played the elite team, Oklahoma City. They played Oklahoma City twice this year. They split. They won the one game by 2. So they've been outscored in 2 meetings with Oklahoma City by 12 points. They played these Clippers twice. They lose by 5 and 22. And they play the Miami Heat. They lose by 5. So San Antonio right now is a team that's got a really good record, but they haven't stepped up against the best teams in the league.
Something to worry about. It sounds to me like you like the Clippers in this game.
I do like the Clippers in this game.
And you were right when we butted heads on the Miami Heat, Oklahoma City. Of course, everyone bet the side I recommended. but you gave out the winner. Taking the Heat in that game, the line went up to 5.5, even as high as 6. One thing about, I look at the character of these teams, because we are coming, let me come over the top here with my handicap. Yep. The Clippers have talent beyond belief, with Chris Paul, Lob City, Blake Griffin, but they're what I consider to be a low-character team. Whereas I look at San Antonio as a high-character team. They always go on this rodeo road trip, and they just, game after game, they have winning rodeo road trips. They never get distracted. And I think it's a great spot that the Clippers are off for 7 days, because you know that Chris Paul got that award, and he's out partying with everyone in L.A., taking in the club scene, having some time off. And I think these Clippers are going to come back, and they're going to be like Denzel Washington in that movie Flight, where he's like, they're going to be stumbling to the court, trying to get detoxed, and maybe their natural talent will be able to win this game. But for every one of those, great performances. Did you ever see that movie with Denzel?
Why is it every time we have a conversation, some movie comes up? Oh, you need to spend more time handicapping, less time watching movies.
It's a great 8.5-minute clip. If no one's ever seen that accident scene with Denzel landing the plane, you got to see that. But you're right, I digress. But I really think I got the meat and potatoes team that I think, similar to the Heat, the Clippers are the type of team that can really go ahead and get up for games when they have to, and they could well be a playoff contender. But I got to question their conditioning and just their commitment. They're so young, and having had such a great All-Star game, Chris Paul, well, I really wonder. And I like the double revenge for San Antonio, because we talk about how rare it is for Miami to lose at home. Well, how rare is it for San Antonio to lose 2 games?
Well, I will up you one more time here, and we kind of talked about this last week. I like to play veteran teams coming in and out of the break. So that's a big advantage for San Antonio here. I don't get where you don't think the Clippers are a high-quality team. Chris Paul, everything I've ever read.
High character.
High character team. Chris Paul, everything I've ever read, I mean, he brings his child to all his press conferences, sitting on his lap. Blake Griffin, I've never heard a bad thing. He's a good kid. Their variance, I will agree, their variance is a lot higher than San Antonio. You really know what you're going to get out of San Antonio every night.
Well, they make great commercials, but isn't Chris Paul the guy that makes fun of the guy's suit? Which I can't really blame him. He says Easter has passed the one time, and then he said, didn't he say after the All-Star game, the other guy has a short man's complex that he's been accused of having?
You watch too much TV and movies.
I'm watching post-game interviews here, so I sound like we're gonna have to go dinner again. Circus Steakhouse.
I'm still waiting to collect the last one.
Everyone in town is. Let's go ahead and make this one official. Okay, Brian says I'm quite possibly on the wrong side, but he's wrong. I'm on the right side. The Clippers are going to go ahead and they're going to celebrate how well they've been playing and that blowout win against the Lakers and the fantastic All-Star game for their stars. And they're going to have a clunker here. I think it's going to come right down the wire. Give me the Spurs. Give me the points, probably 3.5. And I'll take my chance with the San Antonio Spurs on their road trip, Brian.
Well, you don't have to pay for the dinner. I already got a couple $100 there.
It'll all wash out. Speaking of making bucks, be sure to stay tuned this Friday night at pregame.tv when Marco D'Angelo, the seemingly always red-hot Marco D'Angelo, and who knows more about Steam reads and what's going on with the betting marketplace in Vegas Runner and his contacts. I will be definitely checking it out. You should as well. In addition to that, Brian and I are going to be making a video on second half betting. We call it derivative betting, so be sure to stay tuned for that and check it out, and we'll talk about some of the tips from the pros on betting second halves. Check back with us at pregame.tv.